Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Helmet to Helmet. My name is Mason.
And this is Ian.
And today, we're not talking about AAF Week 9, because there was no AAF Week 9. The league folded after Tom Dundon came out and essentially said he wasn't going to pay for the league anymore. Reports before the season said the league had enough money to last at least 2 or 3 years. So after folding after 8 weeks is kind of disappointing, Ian. I don't know how you feel about this.
I feel very disappointed in this program because it didn't even make it a whole year. And not only that it didn't make it a whole year, we didn't even get to see the playoffs. Like, we know that Orlando and Iron was going to be in one side, but we didn't even know what the other side was going to be. And I'm just sad that we're missing out on actually good football.
I agree. I thought the football was pretty great for at least what it was. You know, it was thrown together fairly quickly, so what we had was pretty nice. So instead of talking about the AAF, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything, but we are going to start with the AAF. First, we have to settle a bet that we made last time. What was the point spread I gave you? It wasn't 100. It was one.
Did you say 108 or 112?
I think it was 108 because that would be 12 points a game from here on out.
Yes,
because they were at 88. Or no, maybe it was 112.
Yeah.
So if they averaged 12 points over the last 2 games, they would hit 112. That would be against Salt Lake at home, mind you. They would be in Atlanta and against Memphis in Memphis. Both okay defenses, but both really bad teams. Salt Lake only gave up 3 points against San Diego, which is nice. But the week before, they gave up 19 to San Antonio. I don't know if we can win this one in hypotheticals.
Hypothetically speaking, Atlanta is guaranteed to score 6 points every game.
Hypothetically, I think Aaron Murray comes back in and puts up 70 on these teams and just absolutely just whacks them into the next life, just kills them.
Okay, so this is in the alternate universe where the AAF doesn't fold after 8 games.
Because of their savior, Aaron Murray, who is both Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Yeah. I like this universe. I like this a lot.
I guess Georgia might be national champions there, too.
Hey there. Hey there. Next, we wanted to talk about the playoffs. So, would you like to pick a West champion, or would you like to pick the East champion? And I'll pick the other in these hypothetical situations.
Well, I feel like it's pretty easy, and I'm going to pick the East because,
Okay.
that's where we're from, the East.
I'll pick the West. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to say Apollos because...
Okay. We'll break down the matchup first.
Oh, yeah. Apollos versus Iron. I mean, do we really have to break it down? It's the Irons, one of the most inconsistent teams in all of the AAF, throughout the history of the AAF, I'd have to say. And they have never been to the same level as the Apollos. And the Apollos just play at a different speed/intensity. And it wasn't necessarily a fluke between them and the Hot Shots, but it was a wake-up call to them.
I can agree with that. Orlando did beat Birmingham 31-14 in Week 5, which was a little bit of a beatdown for Birmingham, but that was it was kind of in the middle of their skid because they just lost to San Antonio the week before. Okay, so you're definitely taking Orlando. I think that's a fair one. My matchup is the Hot Shots versus the Commanders, and I want to say, gosh, I have to look back and see. I want to say that the Hot Shots finished with a better record and at least the tiebreaker.
I think they actually finished with the same record, and they had the tiebreaker because their last week was against them.
Okay, yeah. The one game that mattered between them, Arizona won Week 8, the last week of play, 23-6. I think that's what gave them the tiebreaker in that one. San Antonio did win in Week 5, the same week that Orlando beat Birmingham, 29-25, a lot closer. But this Hot Shots team got really hot at the right time, no pun intended. I think they probably would have made it out on the back of John Wofford. Is that how you say his last name? Wolford?
The Woff.
The Woff. I miss you, Woff. So that takes us into, as titled by CBS, the AAF Championship game between Orlando and Arizona. Before we make a pick, mind you, Orlando's one loss was against Arizona. It was not too long ago. It was Week 6, I believe. Yeah, Week 6. Arizona toppled Orlando 22-17, and a bit of a thriller. Who's your pick?
Ooh, it was a very close game then, and I feel like it would have been an even closer game now. And honestly, the Hot Shots have really been impressing me with how they've been playing recently. Or how they used to play. This league's dead. I'm sorry, guys. But they are a really good team that picking up at the right time. And the Apollos are a very good team, both defensively and offensively. But I got to give it to the Hotshots here. I feel like they just have that little bit of like they want this win more. They deserve it more because they've been fighting for it more, and they do have a few more losses, but they might be the better team.
Hey, Ian, you want to know what gets views?
What's that?
Controversy. I'm going to go with the Orlando Apollos. If anyone watched that Week 6 game, it was not a decisive win for Arizona in the slightest. Orlando had multiple opportunities at the end, especially in the fourth quarter, to win, and it felt like everything just kind of went wrong for them. Arizona needed everything to go right for them to be able to win that game, and that was only by 5 points. Orlando had a chance at the very end, not 10 yards away from the end zone. I mean, I think Orlando definitely would have pulled this out, though. Steve Spurrier can't claim this championship. He's going around and saying that he's already won it. He can't claim that.
What are you talking about?
That's ridiculous.
UCF did it. Why can't he do it?
First UCF, now the Apollos. This is getting ridiculous, guys. Florida, chill.
I know what's happening. Fitzmagic next year, Miami, Super Bowl. We win. It's over.
They can go like 7-9 and claim a Super Bowl champion. I mean, it's ridiculous.
What's stopping them?
Florida needs to chill out. But so yeah, we say goodbye to the AAF today. Do you have any favorite memories from it?
Ooh, my favorite memories were when the players forgot that they were mic'd up and they said some things they shouldn't have on live TV.
That was a moment, yeah. And neither you nor I have the right pigmentation to repeat exactly what they said. I mean, we don't.
What was your favorite memory, Mason?
My favorite memory was Week 1 when Young Ho Koo hit a field goal to put the Atlanta Legends ahead of the Orlando Apollos 3-0. Because at that moment, I truly believed Atlanta would have a champion. And then we just yeah.
It's not an Atlanta team if it doesn't suck the first couple years.
If it doesn't suck the first like half century.
Exactly.
Anyways, so we're going to go on to the next experimental spring league coming up, the XFL, which is set to debut in 2020. Currently, there isn't a ton of information out there on it. I think they're planning on picking up on some of the old XFL rules, but there isn't anything set in stone. We'll update you guys as that comes out. The thing I really want to talk about with you, Ian, they don't have a team in Atlanta. They don't have a team in the Carolinas and Tennessee. They don't have a team in Louisiana and Arkansas and Mississippi or Bama. They don't even have a team in Kentucky. So here are your 8 clubs: Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, New York, St. Louis, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington. And just so everyone knows, they don't have names yet. So we're just calling by cities. Out of those 8 cities, who are you going to root for? How do you pick a team?
Well, I typically pick a team through proximity and colors. Since we don't have really the colors or anything that their mascots are, really anything about them, I'm going to have to pick the same way I picked my NHL team. Proximity, Tampa Bay.
Go Bolts.
That's right. Stanley Cup playoffs. But no, Tampa Bay will probably be the team that I'm going to pick to be a fan of because, let's see what they can do in this XFL, which soon to be announced. What about you, Mason?
Yeah, they're definitely the closest. This is going to sound weird, but there are some cities that I have like an affinity with. And one of those cities has always been St. Louis for me. It's always been Atlanta, St. Louis, and generally Chicago. I hate the Blackhawks, but most other things in Chicago, I just kind of, there's something about them.
Do you like the Bears?
I do. I love the Bears.
Did you like the double doink?
Okay. We're not getting into the Bears right now.
Bears. All right, continue.
I'll bring it up later, actually. I feel like I'm going to root for St. Louis, especially because Stan Kroenke stole the Rams from them. They deserve a professional football team. I feel a special affinity towards the St. Louis mascots. Yeah, whatever they end up being. I think that'll probably end up being my team. I'm excited to see what the XFL is able to do. And if you want us to cover the XFL next year in our normal AAF podcast spot, leave a comment below. Say XFL or something stupid,
Say whatever you want, actually. We're not forcing you to do anything.
But just say something relevant to the XFL so we know that's what you're looking for. Don't just say anything.
You could literally type anything.
But I mean, if you list like your grandmother's mac and cheese recipe, then I won't know that you want more XFL podcasts. I'll just think that you think we're hungry. And that doesn't help any of us.
We will accept sponsors.
We will accept sponsors, especially your grandmother. If she wants us to read off her mac and cheese recipe, let us know. Anyways, on to the final topic of today. Ian and I are going to do a little bit of a look ahead and do some way too early predictions for the NFL season before it folds. Because I mean, if the if the AAF folded,
Going
then
by
the
this
NFL is
trend,
always-
yeah.
of course. So Ian, let's start with division winners. Why don't you list off the guys that you have winning the division?
All right, I know this is going to be lame. Nobody really wants the Patriots to be winning the AFC East, but guess what they're going to do? Win the AFC East. As for the AFC North, I'm going with the Browns, which shouldn't be a surprise. Everyone else in that team all the other teams have fallen apart, lost key players, and the Browns are really starting to look better than usual. Then we have in the South, the Texans continue with their greatness. Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, awesome duo. And then for the West, I'm going with the Chargers. The Chiefs won't be able to keep up this year. They have been found out, their offensive schemes. And as for the NFC, for the East, I have it going to the Eagles. They finally get back in stride and take over the division this time. North, the Bears. South, sadly, the Saints are doing it again. They just look too good. Falcons close behind at second, though. And then in the West, the Rams, but with the 49ers so very close to them because I really do believe in Kyle shenanigans.
That's fair. I'll go in order that you gave. AFC East, you have to pick the Patriots until they show you why you can't pick them. I mean, they're so consistent. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like 14 division titles in the past 16 years.
It's too many.
And besides, look at the competition. You have second-year quarterback Josh Allen leading Buffalo. He's not going anywhere. You have Miami, who's openly tanking to get Tua.
What are you talking about? They just signed Fitzmagic.
Who's openly tanking to get Tua. And then you have the Jets, who signed Le'Veon Bell and look like it could be something, but I don't trust the Jets.
Behind what line?
No line, no receivers, and not a lot of defensive depth either.
And Sam Darnold. I mean, another second year, right?
Yeah, exactly. Going to do the AFC North
North is next.
Okay. The Browns are the popular pick, and I don't think I can pick against them. Baltimore hasn't proved anything to me. I get Lamar Jackson. I know he looked nice. He couldn't throw. Having Mark Ingram will be good for them, but there's not enough offensive weaponry. I think they lost Michael Crabtree this offseason.
Yeah, they let him go. It not very good for receiving core.
Absolutely. They lost some linebackers too, didn't they? Almost all of them. Yeah.
They lost all three of their linebackers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eric Weddle.
The Steelers
Wait, no,
lost.
that was
that was a long time ago.
ago. They shouldn't let that happen.
The Steelers, they lost the two pieces that actually supported Big Ben. I don't think Big Ben's that great of a quarterback at this point in his career. He was good before, but Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell helped a lot. And I believe that Juju Smith-Schuster, he's probably the best wide receiver 2 in the league, but I don't think he's ready to be a wide receiver 1. I don't see the receiver depth there. And then the Bengals are just an absolute mess. I don't see anything coming out of there this season. So I think Cleveland wins by default, even though they've got such a stacked roster, but it's just so hard to say Cleveland's going to win a division.
We'll see who's on the Madden cover, because that will determine a lot.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, if it's Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry, then it's over.
They're done.
Yeah, they're
It's
5-11.
yeah.
Yeah.
South is next.
The South is someone I really wrestled with. Everyone in this division could win the division. I think the Titans are the 4th best team in the division. I think they could still make the playoffs, just depending on how the things roll. Not as the 4th best, but I think they could be a playoff contender. This could be the strongest division in football next to
or at least most competitive.
I don't know. I would say strongest. I mean,
Really?
the Colts. I think the Colts and the Texans are both Super Bowl contenders. I think the Jaguars aren't that far behind. And while I don't believe in Nick Foles as a quarterback, I believe that he's better than Blake Bortles, and I believe that defense can bounce back. And that's essentially all they need. Leonard Fournette had a sophomore slump, which is I wasn't doing a podcast then, but that's something I predicted. I said that he's not going to have a great second season because there's no offensive weapons around him to distract people. I'm probably going to go with the Colts there to repeat. The Texans are powerful and young, but the Colts, Andrew Luck is a better quarterback, and they're exploding on offense, and they're looking really good on defense. J.J. Watt's getting a little older, and he's dealing with injury history, and I don't know if Jadeveon Clowney can be that number 1 pass rusher. And then the West, I get what you're saying about the Chiefs, because I definitely believe that Patrick Mahomes gets too much credit for what he does. He has so many great plays, but he has also a lot of 20-yard sacks.
Also adding Tyreek Hill, we don't know what's going to happen to him.
I can agree. I think Mahomes' talent was also amplified by who he had around him in Kareem Hunt, Sammy Watkins, and those guys. I think they do repeat, though. It's going to be a bit of a struggle with the new defense because they're going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. I just love the Chiefs' potential at every position. I'm not ready to say Tyreek Hill's not going to be a part of the team yet because he currently still is. And they have Travis Kelce, who after Rob Gronkowski's retirement, I think we can all say is the best tight end in football.
Jason Witten came back. He's still the other.
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to do what's going to be worse, Jason Witten's commentary in the booth or his play on the field this year?
I think it's actually going to be a toss-up between the two.
God help us. Going to the NFC East, I actually think the Cowboys do win the division. They have a strong, sneaky defense. People don't realize how good their defense really is. And with Ezekiel Elliott, who's going to be completely focused this year. I know there were still some discussions last year. He'll be completely focused and ready. I really like the Cowboys' chances of winning the division.
I just don't trust Dak.
That's understandable.
But Amari Cooper, I could see it happening, but I just feel like the Eagles are going to hit that stride this year.
This offense with Amari Cooper, I've been incredibly impressed with this Cowboys offense, and I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys. I really don't like them a lot. But I've been really impressed with what Amari Cooper has been able to add to that offense. So I'm taking the Eagles. And,
I'm taking the Eagles.
You're taking the Eagles. I'm taking the Cowboys over the Eagles. Man, can you tell it's been a long day?
It's a Monday.
In the North, that's next, right? Chicago. I picked Chicago to go to the playoffs in February when Matt Nagy was hired as a head coach for them. I'm incredibly proud of that prediction. And then the way that they've added Khalil Mack and just built a team around it, they look good. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers can do anything with this Green Bay team. They're a mess. They're rebuilding. I think the rest of his career is just going to be wasted by bad management in Green Bay. Detroit is Detroit, obviously. Minnesota could be interesting, but I just don't see everything coming together for them. They were 8-7-1 in a bad year, though. So they could be interesting in terms of a wild card spot.
Possible wild card spot, but it is Kirk Cousins.
But it's Thielen and Diggs, and it's Dalvin Cook.
That's right.
I mean, it's a high-powered offense with some good defensive pieces. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make the playoffs.
I just don't think they can compete with the Bears in the long run.
I don't either, but maybe by a game. I can't see it by much more. In the South, I'm taking the hometown Atlanta Falcons. But wait, before you call me a homer. Okay, no, go ahead and call me a homer.
Homer.
Okay, but after you call me a homer, the New Orleans Saints are missing half of their dynamic rushing attack in Mark Ingram. And I get that Alvin Kamara was the lead guy, but he only gets like 12 touches a game or so. He's incredibly efficient on those touches, but that's not enough touches to go through an entire game. So they're either going to have to feed him more, which is going to lower his efficiency, add a lot of bang up on his body, but then you already have to rely on a rookie running back or someone unproven. I think Atlanta was a really good team this year. They finished 7-9.
Yeah, it was
even through
a
slog of injuries. I am excited to see what they do this next year. I really think they have all the pieces to battle back and compete for the division. My only thought is, what happens if Alvin Kamara has a down year? Where are the Saints?
Michael Thomas.
Yeah,
and
40-year-old Drew Brees.
Whichever receiver that Drew Brees can make better.
I understand that.
I fear Drew Brees.
If these past 2 years have taught me anything, it's really that Alvin Kamara is becoming the lifeblood of that team over Drew. And Drew Brees, of course, is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks to play the game, but he's not the same guy he used to be. I think if they don't have Alvin Kamara, the offense falls apart. I really think without Alvin Kamara, the offense at least goes back to mediocre.
It will take a step back, certainly, but I really believe in Brees. Brees can throw you into any game.
I see him aging, and I see the fewest number of passes he's thrown in his career last season. I want to say the fewest number of touchdown passes he's thrown in his career last season. And I say without Alvin Kamara, this offense becomes bad.
But he's a selfless player that if he knows that he has to do something to win the game, he will. Or if he knows that he just has to hand off the ball, he'll do it.
But it's not what he wants to do. Can he do it without Alvin Kamara? And I don't know if he can anymore.
I still believe in Brees because he scares me. But I want the Falcons to win the division.
Fair enough.
Let me get that.
Yeah. And then in the West, it's the Rams division. I know the Seahawks made the playoffs. They may not have Russell Wilson. He set a deadline. I don't know if you saw. He said the Seahawks need to get him a new deal by April 12 or else. ... He also showed up in some Yankees gear at some of their games. So yeah, it could be really interesting in the NFC West next year. I'm definitely taking the Rams though, especially they re-signed Dante Fowler, they kept their important pieces, and they brought in Eric Weddle. This is better than a Super Bowl run team.
It's a great offseason for them too.
Yeah, I think the Rams are definitely Super Bowl contenders, which gets us into our next section, Super Bowl contenders. Ian, who do you have going to the Super Bowl from each side?
I know earlier in the season I said Chiefs and Falcons as way too early. I'm going to continue with the Falcons because I still feel like they're a very good team. They'll probably get in on a wild card spot and work their way through it. But as for the AFC, it's just I really can't
muddy,
tell.
yeah.
Like Brady is aging, but they're still going to win that division. I really feel like the Texans have a good shot, and it's just I don't know why. I just have a feeling Deshaun Watson is going to get something done. And I know he had a tough first playoff season, but like it looks possible to me.
I understand that. I would be okay with both of those teams going. I'm going to go with a different AFC South team. I'm going to say the Colts make it out. They look explosive. I think they're ready to go to a Super Bowl under Andrew Luck. And then from the NFC, man, do I want the Falcons to go. But I really think it's going to be the Bears. I think this is Mitch Trubisky's big year. Jordan Howard, while a great running back, now that he's gone, I think Matt Nagy's going to be able to do a lot more with Tariq Cohen being the starting running back. Those of you who play fantasy, watch out for Tariq Cohen, especially in PPR leagues. He's going to be interesting. So I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to have them go against the Colts. And so our last way too early prediction, Ian, give me your MVP, and then give me a dark horse as well.
Ooh, dark horse, and okay, for the original MVP, I'm going to say Drew Brees. Yeah, finally winning an MVP, isn't that right? Second place for however many years in a row.
He has not won an MVP.
I feel like he's going to win the MVP and then not make it into the playoffs very far. That's kind of the way it goes.
Fair enough.
And then as for dark horse, I kind
of sprung that on you. I'll go next.
Let me think of a dark horse. Wow.
MVP, I think if the Patriots repeat, Tom Brady will definitely be in the race. Todd Gurley could push for it. I think it's about time that we have a non-quarterback MVP. That could definitely be a narrative going into the season. I'll say just for fun, we'll go with Todd Gurley. And dark horse, I'm going to go with Andrew Luck.
Ooh.
I think that would be a really interesting one, especially if they had a wide receiver too. What's stopping him now that he's back? I mean, did he get comeback player of the year this year?
There are so many comeback players. I really cannot remember.
If he wasn't, he was in the race. I think this could be the year as a dark horse he could win the MVP, especially if he wins the division on a 12-4, 13-3 record. Oh yeah, let's go Andrew Luck.
All right, super dark horse MVP, a receiver. Not just any receiver, a number 2 receiver, Jarvis Landry. Yeah, you should laugh. I don't even know.
I am laughing, yes.
Oh yeah, please laugh about it because Odell going there now. They have a better receiving core. I got to support a former Miami player. And you know what? He's actually not that bad. Him and OBJ working together again will produce both of their numbers, or at least Jarvis's will go up, OBJ's will go down. And I know that's really weird, but like that's the dark horse that I can think of. I don't see it happening, but yeah.
Fair enough. It's all for fun. Ian, did you have any categories you wanted to way too early predict?
Maybe for another episode.
Sounds great. Everyone leave your comments below about what your predictions are for the divisions, for the playoffs, for the MVP, all of these things, and then we'll look over them and we'll read them if we ever get any comments.
Looking at you, viewers.
Shout out to our 2 commenters, Levi Cothran and Andrew Boyd.
Yes.
Yeah. Eli Smith, the Kumquat kid, also commented on some of the older videos. So shout out to you guys for actually commenting. We really appreciate it.
You get 1 applause from each of us.
Congratulations.
You did it.
Until next time, my name is Mason.
And this is Ian.
And this has been Helmet to Helmet.